Alright, welcome back to another stream. In this one, we are going to be changing the footer a little bit. So I want to add this statistic to my website. This shows how many stars and forks that I have on my personal website repo right now. I don't have much, but I'm hoping that putting this here would make more people notice that I have the code in there. And right now, we have the date in there currently, which doesn't really serve a purpose, right? This just shows the latest time my website has been updated, but I have been updating my website almost every day now, and clearly I did not change this text. I haven't been paying attention to this part, so we can just get rid of it. I don't think anyone else is really paying attention to this area, right? If they're scrolling all the way down here, they don't have to know that this website was last built in January 2020. The plan is to replace this part with the number of stars and the number of forks that I have on my personal website repo. We need several things. The first thing that we need is access to GitHub API. So fortunately, I've read all the documentation for you guys, and this is how you call the GitHub API. So you just do api.github.com and you do /repos and you provide a username in here, and then you provide the name of the repository that you want to take a look in. Again, this has to be a public repository if you don't want to do authentication stuff, I guess. But anyway, this is a public repo. This is my username. And the number of stars is called stargazers_count. And currently I have 1 star. And the forks count is 0. So not a lot. We're going to call the GitHub API from our website and then bring these values in. So first thing we want to do is to create a new component, right? This new component is going to have the fetch call, and this fetch call is going to call the GitHub API and bring us the values. And then the component is going to render these values. Okay, so let's start by copying the simplest component that we have, the heading component. I'm going to call this new component GitHub statistics. Okay. First thing that we want to do, well, we are going to change the heading name in here. We're going to call this thing GitHub statistics. Okay, and we are going to change the arguments a little bit. So the first, again, let's go back to the GitHub API. What does this thing take? It takes a username and it takes the repo name, right? So let's change the arguments in here to those ones. I'm guessing I want this to have the class name attribute as well. So let me just change this to username and this to repo. Let me clean the class name in here. We don't need this, and we don't have a SAS file for this one just yet. So let me just delete that one too. Okay. All right, so let's get rid of this. Let's clean this file up as much as possible. Let's reorder these variables. So I want this one to be here, actually. That makes more sense, right? Username, repo, and then as the last item, it's the class name. And the username and the repo, these are required arguments. So I'm going to change these things as well. Let's move this one up and move that one up. Okay, so that's going to be the username. This is going to be the repo, and the class name is there. Okay, we can get rid of these ones. And I'm going to mark these two variables as is required. As I said, they're required to get the info. If you want to use this component at all, you have to be providing these two, right? Anyway, so okay, so I think it's time to okay, so I think it's time to put the fetch call in here. So we're going to call the GitHub API, right? And we don't have to worry about getting blocked by cross-origin resource sharing protocol. GitHub API actually allows you to call from different origins. So it has the header that says allow access control origin, and then it's equal to star. So it allows calls from everywhere. So we don't have to build a special backend for this. So let's get started with the fetch call. So I'm going to use the use effect hook in here, and let's import that in here. Okay. So this is going to take a function. Okay, in here we are going to have a fetch function. So this fetch function will take the URL. So in this case, it's going to take this whole thing. So let's just copy and paste it in here. I'm going to replace this with the username and this with the repo later, but I just want to see that it works now. And then you're going to say response equals, well, this is a JSON response, right? So we want to parse it as a JSON response, response JSON. And then I want to take this JSON and assign the values into some variables that I'm going to use later in my component. So what are we going to do? Let's worry about that as soon as we finish the catch phrase. So if this doesn't work, what do we want to do? So we can probably get the exception, and for now we can just do console.log error while calling Github API. Yeah, and then I'll append E in here and I'll clean this up. Okay. That looks good. Now we need to assign these things into variables, and to do that I'm going to define a state. So I'm going to have a constant variable in here. Actually, it's going to be a state. So this is I'll call this GitHub stats, and then set GitHub stats, and this is going to say use state, and in here, well, we have two things that we care about, right? What were the variable names? One of them is stargazers count, one of them is this thing, and one of the other is that thing. So let's just copy this, and I'll just put it like this in here. Okay, let's just say this is null. And the other thing that we were interested in was the forks count. So let me just copy this and paste it into here as well. The initial value of this is going to be null as well. But these are going to be strings. Okay, let me import the use state one as well. Use state. Okay, that's not complaining anymore. Okay, good. So what we want to do now is to assign these variables using the JSON response that we got from GitHub. So to do that, you can just do set GitHub stats in parentheses in here, and as an object, I'm going to say stargazers count, pretty much this JSON dot I'm not sure. I guess I can do this, right? Okay, let's see. Forks count, JSON.forks count. I hope this is going to work, by the way. I haven't tried this before. Okay, obviously we want to print these variables out, right? So let's just say GitHub stats.forks count, and also say GitHub stats.stargazers count. Okay, let's replace the username in here with my actual name. Let's replace the other part. So in here, we're gonna say $sign and the repo. All right, that looks good. And also we want to assign the class name to this variable in here. So the class name is going to be the class name. Okay, that looks very good. So I think there's one thing that we forgot to add. We forgot the dependency array. So this is going to be empty. This doesn't have any dependencies on the data in here. That's a whole another topic for another stream. Let's not worry about that part. Just add that. Okay. So let's go to the footer component. And in here, we are going to add our new component. So GitHub statistics. The repo is going to be personal website. Yep, that's right. And the username is going to be my name and surname. Okay, we can close this tag. That's it. Did we import this? Well, apparently we did. Okay. Let's see this in action. There you go. I'm not sure if you can see this on your screen, but it says 0 and 1 in here. We need to assign this a class name so it looks white, you know? Okay, so how can we fix that? Footer dark text. I guess we can assign this class name and it's going to automatically fix it for us, hopefully. Okay, there you go. I have 0 forks and 1 star. I think I got the order wrong. Yeah, so I want the first one to be the number of stars, actually. Okay, I have 1 star. I'm the star. Anyway, so yeah, that works. And what else do we need? So we need the icons, right? So according to the designs that I have in here, we want a star and a fork icon next to the actual numbers. How do we get that? So there's a blog post that I've written a while back about React icons there. So this blog post goes through how you can import React icons without like these icons taking the whole of your bundle size. Basically, this is a very optimized way of importing icons. And we have an icon library that we can use the icons from. So I'm going to use this star called the Go star, which is the closest thing to the GitHub star that I could find on this library. And like, I couldn't see the difference. So we're going to add a star in there. So how do we achieve that? First thing we're going to do, we are going to change this thing to be a div. And inside that div, we are going to have 2 different divs again, probably. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So there's this div, which has the class name, but we're probably going to change the class name, and we're going to, I don't know, we are going to be very creative in here. We'll see. So this div is going to have an icon and also the text. So actually, changing these to a span might be a better idea. Actually, so let's do that. This is still going to be a div. Okay, so number of stars goes here inside a paragraph. Oops. And the other one goes in there, again, inside another paragraph. Okay, now I'm going to put the icons next to them. So I'm going to remember how I put the icons. So to do that, I'll just go to social media bar. And I remember I used the icons in here before. So you can see I've used the FA GitHub one, but now I want to use the Go Star one that I've shown you before in here, Go Star, right? Okay, so let's just copy this thing, whatever, and we'll put this in here. We'll change this to Go Star. I think we need to import this thing though. So to import it, I have to remember how to do that. Oh yeah, there you go. So this is how you import this stuff. Okay, we'll paste this in here. We are importing from Go, we are importing Go Star. Okay, that looks good. So yeah, we should be able to see a star now. I hope that's not too big. Yeah, so yeah, that's quite nice. So we have this thing in here. Okay, we need to import a fork icon, and I haven't searched for that. I hope we can find this in here. So if I search for fork, oh yeah, that's the one. Go repo forked. Okay, nice. So let's come back here, comma in there, go repo forked. We are going to use this thing in here. Well, we have to put it in an element. Okay, cool. Okay, that looks almost as I wanted it to look, except it's vertical. We have to change the layout to be horizontal somehow. Huh. So I think we can experiment a bit in here on how to do that. So there's a span in here, and if I say display flex, is that gonna fix anything? Probably no. So how about this? How about we get rid of all the spans in here? We might come up with a simpler solution with using the flexbox. Okay, so now we are going to use a flexbox. So you have this div in here. All right, now if we do display flex, we get this thing. Huh, okay. So we have an SVG, we have a paragraph. Oh, the reason why the paragraph is so further down is because we have margins from at the top and the bottom. So we can fix that by creating a style sheet for this guy. To do that, I'm going to duplicate the style sheet for the header component because that's a very simple one and it's going to be in the same place. Let's call this the same name, GitHub statistics.module.sass. Let's remember how we import the Sass files from here. Okay, let's paste that in here and rename this to GitHub statistics. And inside in here, I'm going to define a style called no margin, and that no margin style is going to remove this margins. Yeah, okay. So class name, no margin. And the same for this one, class name, no margin. Okay, now we are going to go inside this file. Whoops, no. Okay, let's get rid of all of these. No margin class. This class is going to have margin top, actually margin 0, right? Okay, let's go back. So they're all closer together now. One thing that we need to do is, main. We are going to have a style called main, and this is going to say display flex. All right. Okay, now we need to use this guy. So main. So let's add backticks in here, $sign. Main. Okay. Not as good as I wanted it to be. The icons are a bit too small. So the height for these things is what? Oh, maybe I can fix that by centering everything. This is this thing where here. This is a flexbox, right? So I can say align items center. Yep, align item center is the one. Okay, so that's it. That's the one. Yeah, I guess this is it. I want to give some margin to the left and right of these paragraphs. So let's rename this to numbers. And come here, let's rename this to numbers. Margin is not going to be 0. So margin top and bottom are going to be 0. Margin left, however, margin left will be 3 pixels. Margin right will be, let's say, 5 pixels. Okay, let's see how that looks. That looks better. So now I'm also going to say align items center. That brings them down a bit. And we need to center the whole of this thing now. What we needed to do was to say justify content center, right? So let's come here. Let's say justify content center. That's it. That's going to fix it for us. So these things need to be coming from another JSON file probably. So let's create another JSON file for that one. So this footer, where is it? It's in here. So let's come here, let's new file, GitHub stats.json. And this is going to have two things. One of them is going to be the username, obviously. Username. And the other key is going to be the repo. Oops. Okay, we can grab those values from footer. So that's the username. That is the repo. So now we are going to duplicate this and change the file name to GitHub stats. This is going to be GitHub stats. The repo is going to be GitHub stats.repo. Username GitHub stats. Username. All right, that looks good. This is pretty good, I'd say. Okay, so there's one thing that we need to do. If this call doesn't work, we don't want to show this on our website, and we might as well just replace this with the date, actually. Yeah, what am I doing? This doesn't belong in here. Okay, let's get rid of this. We don't need this. It just should not be showing up if, or I have a better idea. We can show minus, which could represent that it is loading. So I can get rid of this, all of these things actually, and I can get rid of this style that I've just added. Let's remove that. Okay, let's disable the fetch call. Now we see dashes. Nice. Good job. Okay, well, this turned out to be kind of better than I expected. Now we need to assign a link to this thing. So to do that, I'm going to go to the footer, and I'm going to encapsulate this thing in an unstyled link component. And inside this unstyled link, we are going to have, this thing. Okay. Right, where to? So we need to add something to the footer, right? So these are the social media links. I'm gonna add a GitHub link, and that's going to point to my repo. And let's get the link for that one. That's the one. Okay. Use this. Oops. Let's use that thing. Oops. Here. Footer.github link. Okay, that looks good. All right. Okay. We need to assign hover styles, right? And I want it to have this color. Okay, so let's go to footer again. Footer module.sass, and in here we probably need to change the class names a little bit. So we have the GitHub statistics, and this GitHub statistics has paragraphs inside and SVG icons inside, right? So this has a path. Yep, this has an SVG. So can we say color pink, and it would, yep. Okay, so this is how we're going to modify the color of this thing, and this is a paragraph that's inside the div. Okay, so footer dark text, footer GitHub stats. So we're going to add this style back. Okay, that goes there. Footer module.sass, that goes here, and we are going to say we're going to apply this for the paragraphs. So paragraphs, and come on, and hover. So when you hover over them, you want to change the color to $orange. Okay, and we're going to apply some style to SVGs. That's going to be and hover. Actually, we can use, let's try it later. I was going to use multiple selectors at once to assign the same things to avoid code duplication. But let's see if that works first, right? Yeah, so that works. But we want to change like the color of everything to orange when you hover over them. So how do we do that? Oh, so this is what I should have done. So the paragraphs should be that, and the SVGs should be the same. Oh wow, why is this super wide? This shouldn't be that wide. Oh, it's because we're using the flexbox thing. Come on, no. Okay, one thing at a time. Let's not wrap this around a link for now. What do we have? We have this thing, which when we hover, it highlights. Okay, that's fine. Now we can also say display inline block. What does that leave us with? Okay, that leaves us with something that we actually want. All right, that means we are going to change the way this component is drawn. We're going to say this is the inner main class now. And you're going to again create a main class, obviously, and not inner main, just main. Just main. Okay. And in here, we're going to say display inline block. Okay. And in here, we're going to have another div. This div is going to use the inner main class. we're going to put these things inside. Let's see what this does. Okay, so this gives us that div, which wraps around its own components. And this is inside another one, which is fine. Yep, so let's go back to the footer. Let's add a link in here now. So we're going to add a link in here, and this link is going to contain all of those things. Okay, good. Where is the link? The link is here. We're going to say display flex, and justify content center. And now only when we hover over this element we get the highlight. So in here we put those things inside here. We're going to have a class name in here, and the class name is going to be GitHub stats link. Okay, footer GitHub stats link. Let's replace the name with this. Okay, text decoration none, and hover text decoration none. That should get rid of the blue highlights that we have been getting. Yes, and also you're going to say display flex and justify content center. So that will center everything. Now we need to add an href. So the href comes in here, href. Okay, so this is going to be footer dot GitHub link. There. So when we click on this, we should go to the website. Okay, cool. By the way, I thought I fixed the issue by just setting some width or setting display flex property to the link, but what I should have done was I should have wrapped this link inside a div and used flexbox in there. So if I click here outside of this area, it's still going to go to my GitHub page, which is not what I want. I want to obviously go to my GitHub page as if I click only this area and not outside. So the fix is very simple actually. So you wrap all of, not close that, but you wrap all of, come on IntelliJ. Okay. So what you have to do is to create another div, and you have to wrap all of your elements inside that div. Okay, and now you have to assign some class names to this thing. So we have footer GitHub stats link, and we're going to have another class in here. This class name is going to be called footer GitHub stats div. Well, we introduced too many classes, yes, but well, it makes it works, right? Well, that's what yeah, we may have introduced many classes, but this is what works for us. So yeah, let's fix it. So we have this thing in here. We're not going to use the flex property in there anymore. So I'm going to have this footer GitHub stats div, and we're going to move these two in here. Okay. Now only this area is clickable, as you can see. By the way, don't worry about this area if you got IP limited because we sent too many requests at once. It all works. Okay, well, I hope you learned something new, and I will see you on the next one. All right, bye.